Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Mac here. Welcome to the Metro 23 Redux blogger achievement / trophy guide for all the hidden diaries. This is part 2 of the video, which is why we are starting off with 26 of 51. This is on the defense level. After defending your station for a bit from some enemies, you will be able to gain access to this back room, and if you climb up the ladder, you will find a note on this bed. Now, defense does have 4 notes, so note 2 on the same level. The level design is a little bad, so it's a little confusing where I am. I'm going to try to pull up the map here, and if you follow the little arrow on your journal, you should come to this area. It's a long hallway filled with fire and enemies. If you turn left near the end of the hall and jump through here, to continue on through the level, you would turn right, but you should see this train car in front of me, and if you turn left, you'll find this stairway, and if you go up the stairway into the top row, top story of the train car, you should be able to find a diary at the end of the hall near the right hand side. You should come by that area if you do follow the story. Now a little bit later on, you will meet this little kid who will do some stuff, and once you finish speaking to him, if you just look off to the left hand side near this fallen soldier, you should be able to spot that. You can actually spot it during the cutscene, so that's how I knew it was there. Number 29, this is note 4 on defense. At the end of the level is quite long, about 30 minutes. You'll come to this small town area, and just make sure you pick up the diary that is located right there directly in front of me once you come into this small area with the people inside of it. That's note number 4 of defense. Next up is Outpost. Now I have cleared out all the enemies, so keep that in mind. There's various ways to get this next one. I'm going to show you the quickest way. If you turn right directly from the spawn, you can find this ladder, and if you head up the ladder, once you're at the top, just turn around, and you should be able to find your note directly in front of you once you turn around off that ladder. A little bit later, literally a few seconds later, you'll come to this area. That up there is the satellite dish that you'll need to interact with for the objective. But if you turn left through the bushes, now use this bridge to get across the gap, you should be able to see a crane. Hop on the body of the crane, as you see me doing here, and then run along the arm of the crane, jump on the ladder to the left. Now there's various ways to get this. Obviously you can just jump in the window in front of me and then use a staircase to get where I'm going, but it's the same thing. Once we're on the roof, use this ramp to go down 1 story. This is basically 1 story from the roof, and if you head inside of this office door, you should be able to find the note on the desk. That is the second to last story from the top. Black Station, note 1, near the beginning of the level after talking to your teammate. Watch out for wire traps. There's one right there, and there's another one right there that I've already taken care of, and I've already killed all the enemies for you guys. But after that, you should be able to see 2 enemies in here next to the fire, and near these enemies there is a cardboard box with your first note on it. A little bit later, this is still in the Black Station, you'll come to this pipe. I do believe you need to come through this area, but I'm not 1000% sure. But you'll come through these pipes, and you do need to interact with what I'm about to interact with. If you come up these stairs, you'll find this power box which you need to charge. I've already done that. If you keep walking forward and hug the left wall from where I came, you will find this note directly next to this soldier, which is your second note on Black Station. Next up on Polis, you'll talk to this guy right here. This is basically a mandatory section of the game. If you turn to your right hand side, you will find a bookshelf, and you can find a note inside. Next up is note 2 of the same level. You will come to another mandatory cutscene area, and while this guy's talking to you, make sure you go behind him, look on the gas canister, and you should be able to find your second note. Next up on Alley, you will come from the inside of a building to the outside, and you should see this beautiful backdrop here. Just walk off to the left hand side and pick up the note off this guy. I accidentally picked up his gas mask first. That's note 1 on Alley. A little bit later on, you will be chased into the library. Your teammates will shut the door behind themselves, and if you just look off to the left hand side while facing the door, you should be able to find the note on the desk. That one's pretty easy actually, and it's in an area where there is a cutscene. Next up, Depository. You have to come to this office, and once you get in, the door will shut behind you. Now, you can be characterized by like 3 or 4 enemies on the right hand side, all dead, and there should be an enemy that attacks you in here, and you can find the note on the left hand side on a bookshelf. Next up, archives near the very beginning of the level. Just make sure you crouch and sneak around to the left hand side, and you should be able to find your note right here on the bookshelf. Just make sure you sneak, you don't want to distract the enemy. Church. We're going to get note 2 before note 1. This is the only time this happens in the entire game. Directly in front of your spawn, you'll find note 2. Now, I believe note 1 is directly above you, so it is actually theoretically closer to you when you spawn, which is why they're numbered that way. But if we go up the stairs, up the stairs, up the stairs again, and we hang a U-turn, you'll see this small shrine for prayer. And next to the candles, you should be able to find note 1 of the church. Next up, Dark Star. This is at the very end of the level. Make sure you don't walk towards that door on the middle of my screen, kind of on the right hand side there. Walking towards that door will end the mission. Get off the trolley or the rail car, hang right. You'll see these 2 soldiers, 3 soldiers come through this walkway, and behind them you should be able to spot a note. Make sure you're quick. If you're not quick enough, the mission sometimes does end. Next up, the cave. You will interact with that yellow box in order to open this door. I have fought off a lot of enemies, and if you hang over to the left corner of the room from where you entered, you should be able to find this note. Next up, note 2, there will be another door where you open, you interact with a yellow lever. Your 4 teammates will be gathering around, and if you look to the left hand side, you should be able to see a small elevator shaft as well as a metal box with a note on it. Next up, the cave, note 3. You'll come to this part of the game where there's this kind of quarry, and if you see that, you can also look at the arrow on your journal. If you follow the quarry and you go down this middle kind of thing, jump onto here, you should be able to find a body with a diary next to it. That's where you enter the quarry from where I'm aiming now. Next up, D6 at the very, very, very beginning. Turn around 180 degrees and pick up the note off of the bench. This is when one of your teammates will tell you about a gas mask. Next up, you'll come to this section where you have to, one of the sergeants will interact with the computer. If you go to the 3rd row of computers on the right hand side, you should be able to easily spot a note. Note 3 on D6, you'll come with 1 teammate, you'll ride an elevator down, and there will be a bunch of enemies, floating globs. He'll go in that elevator and he wants you to follow him, and that'll take you down 1 more story. But before you do that, if you go to the very end of this hall and look in the yellow train car, you should be able to find your note. That was personally my last note, which is why you see the achievement unlocking. D6, still note 4. This is near the end of the mission. This is a hallway of yellow painted walls and some wires. To end the level, you go in that elevator with your teammate, but before you do that, just off to the left, you will find note 4. Tower, note 1. After riding an elevator, you should find this one directly at your own feet from right after a cutscene. Now, note 2, the final note. If you've been following along, you should unlock your achievement or trophy. Tower, note 2, you'll come from inside to the outside. If you just follow the tower, I think you have to go this way to continue on. You should be able to find this body with your note right next to it. Make sure you like the video. If you found it useful, it helps me out and lets me know that I did something that people actually appreciated, and makes it a lot more likely that I continue this in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, you can click on the screen now to subscribe if you do so desire. That's appreciated. I bring content like this on a regular basis. Feel free to click on the screen if you want to see any of my other videos or any of these other actions on screen. And hopefully I see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.